Yes, sir.
At work. Now, at work, she's professional.
Right.
But still.
You gotta have both sides.
Yeah, but still a little bit militant. Basically, you know.
And I'm good at my job.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
Good at my job.
It is kind of like that.
Right.
So this chick that she knows at work is, and for lack of a better term, she would be, what would you say?
Oreo.
She's like an Oreo cookie.
Oh yeah.
So anyway.
And she's from Detroit.
Oh, sell out twice.
She went to Cranbrook.
So
that's right there.
Yeah. So
you making me drop my cake.
Yeah, that'll do it. But that'll do it though.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this chick.
Oh no, so, we're broadcasting.
So this chick is basically made an opinion of Kim and basically anybody around Kim.
Oh.
From the way that she works, right?
Oh.
So we go to his party.
Guilty by association.
At our mutual friend's house, and she's there, and she meets me for the first time, right?
Right.
And I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's up? You know, just me being myself. And she goes, and then she walks over to Kim, and she's telling Kim, she's like, wow, your husband is nothing like I thought he would be. You know, knowing you, it's nothing like I thought.
That's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Wow.
She didn't even realize that she said something because she put her foot in her mouth.
She's lucky that chick didn't get out of there with like face smashed in.
She almost got cut.
For real.
Right.
Like
she almost got cut. And then she continued it. She came to my office that Monday. She came to my office that Monday.
He's a much better Negro than I expected.
She came to my office.
So well.
I'm sitting there. Now Matt worked in the plant. I was working in the Central Engineering Division.
Gotcha.
And she came to my office that Monday, and she was like, you know, your husband is so much nicer than what I would
He's
expect.
not one of those scary Negroes.
She was like, he's actually nice.
I don't think he would steal my purse.
I'm sitting there looking at her, and anybody that knew me would have been running for the door. She was like, yeah, he's so nice and this, that, and the other. And I had to count to 10 because I was about to start cussing, but instead, I said, get out. I said, get out of my office. She was like, well, no. I was like, get the blank out my office now.
She just didn't understand.
No, she didn't. So she left. And then fast forward to another incident.
Oh, God.
Now, I'm going to preface this with, I don't have nothing against people of other nationalities.
Right.
Because I would cut you, girl. I don't.
Let that be the phrase of the night.
She's so confused. She's so confused. Don't worry about this one.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't saying nothing.
But I mean,
none of us worry about you.
But I mean,
exactly.
I have nothing against other nationalities. I have other nationalities in my family. All
Gotcha.
right? So.
Hey, where you think I got these light eyes from?
I'm a mutt. All right? You don't get freckles.
Right. Exactly.
Fast forward to
hey, but it's like, I don't mean to offend you, but I'm about to offend you.
Fast forward to another incident.
Got it.
It was right before
Ramadan.
I went to. No, it was right
Shout
before.
out to Ramadan people right now.
It was right before I went to the plant. Right before I went to my next job.
Right now.
And this chick.
The hard hat.
Yeah, the hard hat.
Yeah, it's the hard hat.
You know.
Yeah,
Now, basically, and this is a whole nother topic, but basically, I had went natural.
Right.
And my hair started growing.
Yes.
My hair started growing out. Well, there was someone of another nationality in her office. Not one of us.
Right.
And she was like, yeah.
He's trying to break it down. And she was like,
where people have natural hair?
Yeah.
Oh, she was?
No.
She was white.
Well.
Are there black people in her country?
No.
Oh, it ain't finished.
No, but basically she was like, because I was coming to ask her a question, and she was like, and it was for a project. She was like, oh, I congratulations. So the other lady congratulated me, and I was like, thank you or whatever. She was like, so you're going to the plant. How are you going to get a hard hat over your hair? Damn. I'm thinking, chick.
Right.
If we were not at work.
Right.
I would be putting my Vaseline on my face and taking off my earrings and stomping you into the sewer. She's like, what you
Not into the cement. Not to the cement.
Right.
To the sewer. Because we have the sewer, the grading right there.
Right.
That's what it's there for.
sewer.
I will stomp you into the sewer.
I'm standing there looking at her.
Let that be the second
and the
phrase
chick,
of the
and
night.
the other chick, you could tell she was embarrassed. You could tell she was embarrassed. Her face turned red. She looked like she needed a Twix. She looked like she needed a Twix. And the other chick, the chick that asked the question, she's sitting there looking at me, and my face was just. I had to compose myself.
That was horrible.
I had to compose myself. She was like, I was like, I get my hat on my head just like you do.
Right.
And she was like, well, I don't see how. Your hair.
Just
I was like,
Just
she kept going. I was like, don't you ever say anything else about my hair.
Right.
And she was like, well, I just don't understand. I was like, you never will.
I'm not trying to understand yours.
You never will.
Don't try to understand mine.
And she's natural now.
Now. Well, maybe.
That's a whole nother discussion.
I was about to say.
That's a whole nother discussion.
Maybe you taught her something, or maybe she ran into the right man. That's all I can say.
No, she's still an Oreo.
But she want to be trendy.
No, she one of them type of chicks. Basically, when she gets in front of certain folk, she puts on the air.
Right.
Oh, I've done this, I've done that, and this, that, and the other.
I'm
and
in
she
touch
gets
with
around
my
her,
roots.
Right, and she gets around her own people, and she act like she's better.
Right.
She one of them type.
Right.
She one of them type.
Because you get props for being whatever your culture is. You get props when people just not from your culture, they meet you, be like, oh yeah, so you had these experiences, right? But you may not have had them. But you get credit for them anyway. So that's what she's talking about.
I just want the public to know now I'm not ghetto.
Right.
I'm not ghetto.
That's what she's talking about with this black chick. So what she do when she get around black people is, well, I'm better than the rest of y'all. I'm better. Like your experiences are not my experiences. So it's like on one hand you play up for it, you get credit for it. On the other hand, oh, I've never had to eat government cheese. I've never had to worry about my lights being off. I never had to sit in the back of the bus.
And that's
whatever.
Why you're the way you are.
Right. Yeah. So it's
clueless.
Yeah. I've seen that before. Plenty of time. And it's funny. Like for me, it's funny. I'm so light skinned that I get both sides of the story. So I'll get a dark skinned guy who don't like me because I'm too light skinned. And they're gonna like a light skinned guy who think that I assimilate more with light skinned people, other races because I'm light skinned. So I get.
That issue falls in every culture. It's not just
you get right.
Hispanics, the lighter Hispanics and the darker Hispanics. It falls in every culture.
I've heard about
that.
Exactly.
Thanks to Spain.
Very true.
That's a different story.
And I always say that. Be like, if I complain about my race, it's because that's who I interact with. That's my understanding about life. If I was a different race and I interacted with different races on those levels, those personal levels, then I would complain about them too. Because we all have those flaws, we all have those prejudices and those hang-ups.
But I think that's something that's acquired. That's something that's learned. Because I remember when I was a kid, I don't care. Hey, you want to play? Let's play. It's inflicted on you. It's imprinted on you. Because I remember my best friend, it was a black little boy, and come on, let's go play. And it was my stepfather in the background. Why are you? No, you can't be friends with him. No, you can't.
It's not right.
It's like, why?
I know that happened to me. I was in
What's the big old deal?
Elementary school, and this dude named Chris, he was a white guy, and he had 4-wheelers. Man, I was like, man, no black kids have 4-wheelers. But they lived where they could have 4-wheelers, which was in bike riding distance from me. So that's where I spend all my time, right? 9 minutes. That's where I spend all my time. But dude also had warts on his hands. So I was taught that I would get warts from hanging out with white people. That's why I shouldn't hang out with them. Because the other black boys were jealous that I was getting to ride the 4-wheelers and everything. I'm hanging out. But they were like, if you keep going over there, you're going to get warts. So when I would come back home, be like, yeah, man, I rode this 80. I jumped the ditch. I'm Evil Knievel. Well, he's white. And he has warts just like your friend Chris. Like, dang. I remember that in elementary school, getting on the bus with Chris, and they was like, oh, so you're going to sit with him today. You're going to have warts tomorrow. Like, that's all they could do. Because they couldn't just say, you know, don't hang out with white people because they're white. They had to say, this is, you know, but I don't know why he had warts, but I never got him. And we kicked it. We kicked it. You know?
I love how that story